What's up, guys? Bow Hunt 220. We're going to get started on the install of the wrap on the Stevens 301, and instead of it being an hour plus long video, I'm going to break it down into like 4 sections. We'll do the butt stock will be one video, the receiver will be another one, fore end will be another one, and the barrel. And so it'll be 4 different videos, and that way too, if anyone ever wants to see how to wrap a certain part, they don't have to go through the whole entire video. They can just go to one part of this little series and see what they want to wrap. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with it, and like I said, the first video will be the buttstock, receiver, and then we'll go to the fore end and barrel. So here we go. The 3 main things you're going to need. The very first one is just an X-Acto knife, hobby knife, whatever you want to call it. These, you're going to run through a lot of blades. I would have some extra ones left because mostly you're going to be using the tip, 90% of the time to go around, and get the fine detail work around your pins and the safeties and stuff like that. So you want a lot of blades because this vinyl does, it dulls them pretty quick. Second thing is just a piece of like foam, EVA foam or anything like that, like a piece of your wife's yoga mat if she don't kill you, cutting a piece of it up or an old one or whatever. I use this when I get around like the checkering and all, like I was showing in the last video, how you can get that detail to really come out. Is you just take something like this, when you put it on, apply heat, and then mash it, and this will help it get down into that checkering or whatever it may be, lines or whatever. And then the third thing is a heat gun, but you don't have to have a heat gun. I use one of my wife's old hair dryers that only works on like low, but that's plenty for me to get the heat that I need out of it. Or you can use, I've even seen them use the butane torches. I'd be kind of leery on that one, but I've seen videos where they have been done. But okay, back at it now. Got it all taken off of everything, the barrel and all that. I did take the red dot off of the barrel. It just makes it easier when you go to wrap the barrel because you got to kind of rotate it when you're going around. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some alcohol wipes. These are just 70% isopropyl alcohol wipes. You can get anywhere. I'm just going to take a couple of them and just wipe down the receiver. Let me put this down here. I'm just going to wipe down the receiver right here, everywhere that the wrap is going to go. I'm going to wipe that down. Another reason I use alcohol is because it dries really quick, so you don't have to sit here and wait for a long time in between the time you clean it off to the time you put the wrap on. But I just give it a decent wipe just to get some of the oils off of it, and it just helps this stuff stick. The really cool part about this stuff is too that when you go to put it on, and you'll see it because I'm gonna have to, I'm sure, readjust it a couple times. You can actually fill it up and then replace it and reposture it where you want it, and you're not messing up the backer. It stays sticky. But I'm gonna go through and wipe this down, let it dry, and then I'm gonna pull out the kit and show you what all comes in. This is a shotgun kit. Show you what comes in it, and we'll go from there. All right, so this is all you get in the kit. You get a barrel piece, which is I want to say they say it fits up to a 30-inch barrel, I believe. Yeah, I think they say on the website that it'll fit up to a 30-inch barrel. You get your receiver piece, left and right receiver, your buttstock pieces, left and right buttstock. It's all labeled. just like that. And then you have a big piece for your fore end. There is one more little item I forgot to mention that you're gonna want or need is like one of the little squeegees, like the vinyl squeegees, or a piece of cardboard that is kind of thin. You could probably use a debit card or a credit card, but all right, here we go. Going to start from the rear of the gun, going to the front. I'm going to go ahead and put our buttstock piece on. And if you see my two enormous dogs running behind me, just ignore them. They get curious when I start doing one of these videos in the house. But you just peel it off. And then you take it, and like I said, it's really sticky. And then the way I do it is I go, and I want to, like where the buttstock meets the receiver, I like to just go over that. I mean, just maybe like a 1/16, just a hair over that joint right there. And it just, when I go to put the receiver piece on, it just kind of blends into it better. But you just want to line everything up the direction the receiver or the buttstock is going in. And then you see here, I'm gonna have to go up a little bit further. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll lift it up where you can see. But you'll see already where I've started to put it on. You see where the pistol grip is starting to, it didn't quite cover right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull it up and just move it forward. Because you can see in the back right here, I'm gonna have plenty that I can work with, and even on the sides and stuff. So I'm gonna just pull it up, move it forward to where I can get a good cover on the pistol grip. Alright, now I don't know if you noticed when I started putting this on, but there's a lot of detail right here into the top part of the pistol grip. I'm gonna have to pick it up and replace it one more time. About like that. And you want to make sure that you got enough room on the top and the bottom. You want kind of like equal spacing. You're gonna have enough to, like I said, when you start heating it up, to play with it and to get wrinkles out and all that kind of stuff. But on your your first layout, just go ahead and kind of press it on there. And like I said, don't be scared if you don't like it the way that it goes on. Just peel it up and put it back the way you want to. But I usually try to work it in as much as I can like this, and then when I get to something like that, I'll go ahead and take my hair dryer, and this is going to sound really bad, so don't think it's going to like blow up in my hand or anything. It's a pretty sick hair dryer. But I give it just a minute to start, and you can see how this stuff is folding. It almost kind of, for a minute, you feel like it's going to do like a heat shrink kind of deal, but you don't. And I just work that spot where that detail is and the checkering and stuff. I kind of heat that up pretty good. And what I'm going to do is it had some deep valleys right there. So I'm going to take that squeegee, and while it's hot, I'm going to work it in right there. And there was another line right there. And if you can't remember where this stuff was or whatever, that would be a good time to take your foam, because it's still warm. Take your foam and press. And you press it in. And you can see I'm getting the checkering and everything right there. And all I did was just press that in. Okay, there's one valley right there that I didn't see, or I didn't get on the initial. So I'm just going to go through and press it in. And I would go ahead and keep pressing it in pretty good while this is cooling, because if you do it and you just kind of stop when it's still hot, it can work back out of it. So that's why I stay until that it feels cool to the touch, and then it's pretty much, it's there. All right, and then where I go from here is I go ahead and I start, because I want to know how much I'm going to have left and all. I go ahead and start on what I think is going to be the hardest part, which on this one, you know, to me, it's always right around the top of the grip where it goes up to the cheek rest. So I go ahead and heat that up, and I'll go ahead and start molding that side, and then I'll move down here to the bottom part of the grip, and then do the bottom side of the buttstock. And when you do, I like to go, it says go halfway and then join halfway on the other side, but what I do with mine is I go on my first initial side, whichever side that may be that you're doing, left or right. I usually go maybe like a 1/16 over, just so when I come back across, I have just a tiny bit of overlap. That way when I go to cut that one, if I make a mistake and accidentally cut a little short, it's still got the pattern up underneath whenever you lay it down, that you're not getting back to bare gun stock again. It's actually going to be, you know, the wrap that you're seeing. Take just a minute to get old Bessie here to heat up. But you can see it doesn't take a lot of heat to get this stuff. And it's, when I say it's pliable, it is really, really, really pliable. It's almost like, you know, messing with t-shirt material when you really get it heated up and start getting it to move. Like right there. All right, I've already got a bubble right here where I didn't work it in good. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. There's a bubble right there. All I have to do is peel this up and get that bubble out and reapply it. It's that simple. I mean, I just went through there, got that bubble out of there, and did not mess up anything. And you know, you don't have to take a whole lot of it off whenever you see a wrinkle or a bubble like that. A lot of times you can just take your heat, not with a bubble so much, but like with just like a little small crease or wrinkle or something like that. You can most time take your heat gun or your heat source or whatever it is, and just heat it up a little bit and push, and it'll push it. Push it kind of to the edge, and it'll push it out. But we're gonna keep going. And all I'm doing is just, I'm getting it to where it's pliable. That's all I'm doing, is just getting this part, and I work in little sections, and I go down. And I'm probably going to speed a lot of this up. So, like I said, I don't want this video to be an hour and a half long video of how to put a gun wrap on. But I do want to show you guys how I put it on, and I don't want you to think it's something that you can't do yourself. It's super easy to do. Alright, that's heated up enough. I'm going to put that on right there. Stretch it on around. Get that side in there good. Alright, this will be probably where I make my first cut, because it's starting to stretch and put a little pressure on this piece right here, so it's going to want to try to pull it back up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come right in here and not make a big cut, but I'm just going to relieve, some of that pressure right there. And that way I can go ahead and, because I've already covered the stock. The stock's covered, so all I'm doing is just making it to where I can keep working this piece on the top down. And you just work it down like that. And you pretty much right there have already got your stock halfway done there. Alright, well, look at it, and then you just kind of gauge it. Just kind of look at it and fold it over to where you can see on most stocks, you can see either where they hydro dipped it and you can see a line, or you can just kind of gauge of where the halfway point would be, and then that's all you have to do is just go to that halfway point and just go a little bit over it like I do, and you're good to go. So here, I know I'm at a halfway point here, so I'm going to make that little incision I made just a little bit wider to relieve that. And you can see right there what I'm talking about. I'm over halfway, so see, I can actually trim all of this right here off. And I know some videos are going to tell you to do it, you know, when you go to trim, do it in a kind of a squiggly line or whatever. I like to cut mine straight. To me, it just looks better. I've tried it both ways, and to me, just cutting it straight and overlapping it, it looks the best. So that's what I am fixing to do. I'm fixing to go right here, finish folding that piece down right there, fold that piece over, making sure I try to get as many wrinkles out as possible, and just, you know, pull it tight. And then you really too, and that's why I'm gonna do this now and not before, is you want to wait till this stuff cools. You don't want to cut it when it's hot, because it will stretch and deform on you. But I'm gonna go, like I said, just a little over halfway and cut down and peel that up. And what I do most of the time, you can see that's over a little over halfway. So these pieces that I'm cutting off, I always save these because in case I get like a void or a gap or something, you can use that to fill in. It will lay just as flat as this stuff once you heat it up and put it where you want it. So now I'm going to finish this up right here, and I'm going to cut it right there down the, what I think would be a little over the center line right there. And go down. Just like that. Peel that back. And there you go. There's half of it done right there. And see where I kind of messed up because I was trying to show you guys on the camera. But see, all I got to do is with the next side, just overlap it over that piece and then cut it over here. So you'll never have a void if you know, just kind of lay it out the way you want to, and just like I said, take your time and be slow with it. But now we're going to do, we got that on there. Everything looks good. Everything's holding. Alright. So alright, now I'm going to start on the bottom of the pistol grip. Now this is where you're going to have to start like pulling on the material a little bit, and I'll show you what I'm talking about right here. Because see, if I don't, I'm not going to have enough to go around halfway right here. So this stuff stretches a pretty good way. Don't pull it too hard because you can tear it, but you can see, I mean, it doesn't take much pressure at all to pull it. And like I said, it gets real elasticy when you start heating it up. So I'm just going to put a little bit of heat to it, kind of warm it up. Like I said, it takes a minute for this hair dryer to heat up to where I want it to. Alright, and now you can see you can stretch that material a pretty good ways. So I'm going to go here. I need to stretch. I need to stretch this portion right here at the bottom part of the grip a little bit more. So I'm going to heat it up just a tad bit more. And like I said, if I didn't do this and I had a gap, I could always use this, you know, a little extra piece, cut it and put it in there, you know, to kind of scab it in. And once you put that other side on, you'll never notice it's there. Alright, that should be warm enough. Now we're going to take this piece and stretch it. There we go. Looking good so far. Alright, and there again, when you get to places like this right here, you'll see how that is, how it didn't quite come about. Now I could cut a piece and put it there to scab that in, and then here you'll see that it gets kind of tense right there because it's got pressure on it, because you know it's not meant to bend that way. So you can either cut it right there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this piece right here back up, this part right here, heat it up a little bit more, and just pull it some more, now that I know that I've got the other, you know, where I want it. And you can do this as many times as you need to. Like this stuff, it's not going to lose its stickiness. I have sat here and pulled it one piece and pulled it one piece for a long time, you know, till I got it exactly how I wanted it, and it never lost the adhesiveness to the back of it. Wrap that around, take that, heat that part up, and go ahead and stick that down. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and work the rest of this grip on back. And when you get to the bottom, I'll show you how I do it most of the time, just to kind of make it look good. But I'm going to run heat right here through the crease right behind the grip and get it worked in there real good. Give it a couple little tugs just to give me some extra material. That was another thing that, you know, I mean, it's just, and you'll find when you work with this stuff how far you can actually stretch it. I mean, it's pretty crazy how far, you know, you can actually get it to stretch, to go into places that you need it to go. And it's all about the heat, you know what I mean? You've got to watch out, because you can burn your hand doing this crap. Look at it right there. Oh yeah, that looks great. Alright, I can already feel right there, so I'm going to stop just for a second. Alright, I'm going to fix this. And on most pistol grips, or I keep saying pistol grips, but on the grip of a standard stock, let me turn that a little bit. Right here, when you get it to right there, it kind of starts doing it kind of starts getting a little funky right there. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll make a little cut right here, just so I can finish laying it, cut it right here so I can lay it into that groove right there and do my halfway point. And a lot of times I'll come back and either I'll scab a piece in, a circle right in, so I can go around. But on most of my shotguns, when I finish the wrap, I usually come back and cut just this piece right here out, because a lot of times that's where, you know, like on a you know, your higher grade Remingtons and Brownings and stuff like that, your logo will be right there. So, you know, you can go back and cut it out if you wanted to, just to be able to still see the logo. But you can see right there, let me see if I can, right here, right there, there's a wrinkle right there. So I'm going to pull this piece up and just bring it back down. And now that I've got the back laid down, I can actually start playing with it at different angles. So I'm just going to peel it up and start working it over. Until I get it the way I want it. Just work those wrinkles out, work them to a corner or wherever, you know, wherever you can try to do the best to get it out. And if it doesn't seem like it's wanting to get the wrinkle out by the way that you're moving it or trying to manipulate it, put more heat to it. Put more heat and stretch it the way you want to. You can always cut whatever excess overhangs off, you know what I mean? So you don't have to have every little bit of this this material. Right here around the swivel stud, I'm gonna work it in around that. Take my little squeegee here and go around, get it as tight as I possibly can, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim it around that. Boop, just like that. And then do the same thing on the back side. I may heat it up right here just so I can manipulate it in real close to that swivel. Heat it up just a little bit and move it around. Get it tight. Like I said, let it cool for just a second to where it doesn't feel like it's really pliable, and then just cut out whatever you're going around. This is what I was talking about, you know, you use the tip of the knife way more than anything else, and then just peel that off. Alright, now I can go back and finish what I was doing right there. And there it is. Alright, that main part of the buttstock's off. So now, just making sure everything's laying good. Alright, now I'm going to go back up here to the grip and I'm going to work it down in this groove like I was talking about earlier. I'm going to go ahead and make a little cut right here. Just a small cut, and then I'm gonna let the material stretch down into that crease. Turn it around so you can see it a little better. I'm just gonna take and work it in, and now it's just as smooth as if this was a stock finish on there. Now that I've got that done, I'm gonna leave that little tag right there, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna heat right here where this checkering is. I'm gonna heat that up pretty good and run back through my lines, you know, just to make sure that they're good. Because I really like that you can get your detail back, you know, with this stuff. I think that's just one of the coolest things about it is, you know, you can still keep all your detail that the gun originally come with. Just work it down, however far it goes or whatever. Got a little space right there. Work that around. Alright, I'm gonna take, and in this long groove right here, I'm just gonna hold it there for just a second and let the material cool down. Looks pretty good. Alright, right here I can see I have like a tiny little air bubble. And now that I've got all this wrapped, instead of, you know, trying to unwrap and do, what I usually do is just go right here to the bubble, put a little bit of pressure on it so you can force it down, and then I just prick it just to release the air, and then lay it flat just like that. I don't know if I put it where you can see it. I'll work that in, and now it's flat. No bubble. I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to go around and do this outline of this grip right here. they make this stuff where it's just super easy to work with, as long as you got the right stuff to do it with, you know what I mean? And that's where heat comes into play, is just being able to have that heat just to be able to manipulate this stuff the way you want it to go. Run down in all these grooves real good. Just like that. Keep going back here to where that one is. And if it, when you get to something like this and it doesn't seem like it's, wanting to stay down in that groove, do what I did a while ago. Just take and hold it. Because this stuff, it stays pliable for just a minute, but once it starts to lose the heat and, it starts to get cool, that's when it's really gonna stay down in those grooves like that, because you're stretching the material, but also that heat is helping that adhesive on the back stick. So once you move it down in there, you're stretching the material, but you're getting it to where it'll stick down into that groove and stay too once it cools down. And there it is right there, just like that. And now I'm going to take, since it's still a little warm, I'm going to put a pretty good little amount of pressure on it, just to bring out the checkering. Just like that. Let's see if I can get it where it'll focus. Now you see the checkering. You can see the lines that were in it. Everything looks good, and just, check it. Get it the way you want it. You got all the time in the world to mess with this stuff. Just don't rush. That's the biggest thing. Alright, I'm going to come back up now and trim this piece here down to the corner. I may go all the way up to there, just to, being that this is it has a camo pattern on it already. And what I do is, like I said, I just went and I cut that piece that was sticking out. I just cut an angle in it, and what I'm going to do with it is now I'm just laying it over, and then I can take this piece and fold it over that to where it lays flat, just like that, and it blends right in. And then just start working the other stuff in there and getting it to where you want it. That piece didn't stick right, so I can pick that out just like that and rework it around. And now I've got plenty of real estate to work with, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the video off right now. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the other side, and then I'm going to get started on the receiver. Alright guys, we got the buttstock done, both sides are done. This will be your finished project with as few wrinkles as possible. I am still going to go back right here where I folded this around. Try to get it to focus right there. Where I folded that around, you can see, just where I overlapped it, and I'm going to cut that to where the pattern kind of blends a little better. But you can see as far as on the bottom, looks like one solid line all the way up along the back. You still got your checkering and all that. Got, see right there, there's a bubble. But now that it's cool, you just work it back in. Take your squeegee, work it in them grooves. like I said, right here, a good example. I'm glad this one actually kind of popped up so I can show you. Right here, there's a bubble right here. I don't know if it's picking it up really good, but all I'm gonna do with that one is just take and just stick the X-Acto knife in there and then work it into that groove, and it's gone. And just like that.